So the dog is going back to where it came from. Well, Charlie. Know from whence you came. That's from the Bible. Right, Nick?
No. That's from James Baldwin.
Well, the idea is somewhere in there. I'm sure. So I'll say I was close and declare victory.
Sure. You do that.
Just think how far we've come with the unformatted matter. First, the Einstein radio, and now this.
For the longest time I thought the Einstein radio was a super advanced AI. Thinking that someone programmed a computer with all of Einstein's personality is a lot less crazy than unformatted matter.
In a lot of ways our trips into unformatted matter are just the next step. It's a more immersive version than the Einstein radio. Thinking it was AI was very reasonable though. They both use equations.
No one has ever explained how they use equations to manipulate unformatted matter. How did they even think of that?
Remember the two androids from our first mission? They seemed to know how the Einstein radio worked. Everyone is quiet for a moment. I'm surprised how much I miss them. Penelope breaks the silence.
When the lab uses the term equation, it could just be a code word for what they actually do. I can see why they would keep that kind of thing secret.
Speaking of that, don't forget what we're trying to do.
There is a moment of silence as we all smile and look at each other. Then we hear a crackle over the loudspeaker.
Is everyone ready for the mission?
I sure am. It'll be like a walk on the beach.
A nice, calm and sunny beach. I can vividly imagine it now.
Now that you mention it. So can I. Can you hear the waves crashing on the shore? Feel that sea air or smell that salty ocean? I know I can.
I don't know what you're up to. But get serious for a moment. You'll all be happy to hear that we're toning down the doom and gloom. The equation for this mission will be focused on managing population density. There won't be any threats on this mission.
The team and I will be thinking happy thoughts. Just for good luck.
There is a dramatic pause. If we don't say something, the lab will know that we're up to something.
That's right.
That was totally suspicious.
Okay. The safest way to get an answer on how to deal with overpopulation is to just crowd large groups together. We'll drop you off in a high-rise and you'll signal when you want to come back.
Is the building near a beach? A lot of high-rise apartments are near beaches. You know. For the view.
I can see why. No one wants to be closed up in a building all the time.
I don't know all the details with this mission. I just coordinate getting you in and out safely. I need you to focus on the mission. Prepare to enter unformatted matter. In 3, 2, 1.
No one's around.
They must all be in their houses.
Then they won't mind if we just leave.
Brian heads straight for an exit door, but he seems to be having trouble with it.
The door is locked. The good news is that I was able to look out the windows and we're just yards from the beach.
What is it, boy? Before you know it, he starts pawing at one of the doors. We all go to get him before he causes any trouble. By the time we reach him, the door opens.
Can I help you?
We're sorry. Our dog got away from us.
Oh, I see. That's quite all right. Well, have a nice day then.
Actually, you might be able to help us.
How's that?
You might find this hard to believe, but we found our way into the building and now we can't get out.
I don't really know you and
I wonder why Charlie is whining so much. Now he's trying to get inside.
you have such a cute dog. Maybe he would like some water. Why don't you all come in? I didn't mean to be rude out in the hall. It's just that I don't really leave the building and anything to do with leaving really bothers me.
If you don't mind me asking. Why's that?
Well, I have everything I need here. I haven't left the building in a long time, so it just seems so frightening now.
But you have a beach within walking distance.
I suppose. But familiar is safe.
That's fair, but everything that is familiar was once new and strange.
I suppose you're right. After all, I did let this new, little dog into my. Where did the dog go?
He ran out the door. We'd better go get him.
You go find your dog and I'll stay here. We can talk more later.
Thank you very much. Hopefully this won't take long.
Now where did that dog run off to?
He's trying to get into another house. Here he goes, pawing at another door. The door opens and I'm able to grab him before he runs inside.
We're really sorry. Our dog was about to walk in like it was his home.
Wow. There sure are a lot of you. What are all of you doing out here?
Well, we're locked inside the building and we're trying to get out.
Why would you want to leave? It's so nice inside.
Because there is an amazing beach outside with lots of sun, sand and surf.
Sure. If you like that kind of stuff.
Oh. I do. I like all that stuff a lot. You wouldn't be able to let us out. Would you?
Charlie leaps out of my arms and heads right into the house.
If you all would please get your dog.
We're very sorry about this.
Please get your dog.
Yes. Right away.
I got him.
So all of you want to go to the beach?
We'd love to have you along.
All those people. The beach is so crowded. The world is so big. In general. And that's scary. I imagine everyone in their groups having fun. But I'm so socially awkward. Sometimes I imagine what I would say and do in crowds. But it never ends well. I'm better off staying here.
All alone?
You must think it's strange that I'm lonely. And afraid to meet people. All at the same time.
Not at all. Meeting people is hard. It's made even harder when you imagine something not going the way you want.
What you're doing is called catastrophizing.
That sounds like catastrophe. That sums up what I would expect to happen if I went to the beach. How would I change thinking that?
For one thing, you have to recognize that you can't predict the future, so you don't know that things wouldn't end well.
Ryan could have put that a lot nicer. But he's right. Things rarely end as bad as we fear. If you make a list of all the bad things that can happen, you can make plans to deal with those things. What is the thing you're most worried about?
Going out by myself. I guess.
We met one of your neighbors earlier. Would you be comfortable going with them? Of course we would be there too.
That sounds like a good idea. I know everyone in the building. Did they say they wanted to go to the beach?
Not yet, but we can try to convince them right now.
In that case, let me know what they say and get back to me.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Ryan must be getting impatient for the beach. He's already knocking at the other neighbor's door.
Oh. It's you. What can I do for you?
You mean? What can I do for you? We met one of your neighbors and they want to go to the beach with you.
When I said I wanted to go, I didn't expect.
Can we at least talk about this?
Yes. I think we all need to talk about this before we do something someone regrets.
Great. Is your living room big enough?
Sure it is. Wait a minute.
Okay, good. I'll be right back.
Well, all right.
If it's okay with everyone. We're going to meet at your neighbor's house before we head to the beach.
I'm surprised. That didn't take long at all.
Thank you for allowing all of us in your home. How long have the two of you been neighbors?
There is a moment of silence and I start to wonder if this was a good idea.
We've been neighbors for years, but I've never really gotten to know anybody. And that's my fault.
No. It's also my fault.
That's why we're all here. Today that changes. The unknown is scary, but we'll be with you every step of the way.
That's right. I know that both of you are hesitant to go. So to help you get comfortable, I'd like to talk about the biggest concerns you have about going to the beach.
Do we have to do this? Shouldn't we just, go to the beach?
That sounds like a good idea.
You think going to the beach is a good idea?
No. I think talking about why I don't want to go to the beach is a good idea.
Let's get this over with.
It's not right to dismiss someone's fear of a situation.
She's right, Ryan. They won't go to the beach if they don't want to. And you don't go. If they don't go.
I'm sorry.
Now where were we?
Most of the time people tell me that my fears are silly. Thank you for not making me feel bad.
You're very welcome.
Previously you mentioned that I was catastrophizing. How can I get over that? If I could change that, I would go lots of places.
Nick, this question is totally meant for you.
Nick takes a soft, deep breath and calmly starts.
Catastrophizing is caused when people imagine the worst thing happening. For example, you imagine that meeting people at the beach would be socially awkward.
But it seems so likely.
But is it though?
Well,
So for this to work, we need to be able to say, no.
It's important to challenge thoughts and feelings that make you afraid. Can you actually recall a time when you were in a socially awkward situation at the beach?
There is a long silence followed by a smile.
no.
You got lucky with that answer. What if he had said yes?
Everyone laughs and that relieves all the tension in the room.
That's true, but even if the answer were yes, I would have just needed to show that any previous situation is unique and doesn't influence any future situation.
That's true. I guess.
Don't stop there. Give him the whole positivity spiel.
Ryan is funny when he's sarcastic.
I was getting to that. Don't rush me.
What does Ryan mean by that?
Nick is the one person we can rely on to see the bright side.
That must be nice.
It actually takes a lot of practice.
Can you practice that kind of stuff?
We can actually do that now. For example, imagine all the positive experiences you can have with people at the beach.
Like what?
I always like the little kids that come up and ask what you're doing.
That kind of thing only happens to you.
This is actually getting me excited for going to the beach.
See how your imagination can be used to actually motivate you to try new things.
What if you can't see the bright side? It's just that. It's been so long since I've left my home that I'm afraid to leave.
What would be the worst thing that could happen at the beach? Most people won't even notice you're there. You'll walk on the sand. Maybe go in the water and then come home. There's nothing to it.
I understand that what you're saying is true. It just doesn't feel true.
The thing is, that's because the longer you don't face your fear, the greater it becomes.
I see that. So what do I do about it now?
You face your fear in small ways at first. Today, you'll be going with a group that supports you. We'll be looking out for you.
There is a moment of silence and then Charlie breaks the tension.
Of course Charlie will be there too.
The more frequently you confront your fears, the easier it will be to face them.
What if something goes wrong?
Bad days and setbacks will always happen. And it's important to remember that life is messy. Don't try to have a perfect moment. That's too much pressure.
I'm the one that always wants things to go perfectly. How do I get over that?
List all of the priorities for that event. If it doesn't make the list, then it's not important. For example, what's the important thing that needs to happen when you go to the beach?
Well, nothing.
Well, there you have it. You can't fail then.
I think the pep talk is working. Even Charlie is getting excited for the beach.
In the situations where you actually have a list, make sure the most important things are put at the top. Then you can make plans to deal with those important things. Things become less scary when you define them. And a lot less scary when you make a plan to deal with them.
Well, I'm ready to take a chance if you are.
Ready as I'll ever be. You're sure that this gets easier over time?
Oh, absolutely. There are many things you can do to help manage your long-term fears.
What do you mean by long-term fears?
Sometimes fears become habits. So you're just used to being afraid. When fear continues for a long time, it can become long-term.
And you think me not wanting to go to the beach is a long-term fear?
Not wanting to leave your house is a sign of a long-term fear. In order to calm down long-term fears, people usually develop coping patterns. I think yours is avoidance. You deal with your fears by avoiding them.
How do I change that?
You're doing it right now. Congratulate yourself.
I suppose that is a small step.
It's more than a small step. It's a major success and you should treat it like one.
What Nick means is that you should do something to celebrate this occasion. Treat it like something special. Because it is.
Are you sure?
The reason you want to make a big deal out of this is because it reinforces in your mind that what you did should be repeated. After all, what made your fears long-term was your repeated response to them.
I think I see that.
Facing my fears is easier this time because you're here. What can I do if I want to go out? But I'm too afraid. And you're not here?
Your desire for going has to be greater than your fear of going. You can either increase your desire to go or decrease your fear of going. It'd be best if you do both at once.
I'm going out on a limb and say it would be a lot easier to just try being less afraid.
Ryan.
You believe in miracles, but I'm more practical. Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger.
You do have a point. If you can't increase your desire to go, then there are easy ways you can decrease your fear of going.
I could use some easy ways. Let's have them.
Plan the event in as much detail as you can. For example, decide when, where and how long you want to go. If you're afraid of something going wrong, then make a plan for it.
How does making a plan help me be less afraid?
Not knowing what to expect causes anxiety, so planning things out reduces that.
What you said about anxiety is true.
If you want to give increasing your desire to go somewhere a try, you can list your goals for going in as much detail as you can.
Why will that help?
Goals help motivate you to do things because they remind us why it's important. Remember, the goal only needs to be important to you.
Even if it's a small goal. It's important because you're important.
It's funny to think of it in those terms.
That reminds me of my favorite way of dealing with fear. You can make fun of it. Find any way to laugh at it.
I don't get it.
Let's say you were afraid of spiders. I mean, they have 8 legs. They're poisonous. They can hide anywhere.
Ryan, pull yourself together.
Okay. Right. So the way you can minimize your fear is by making fun of it. Imagine a spider wearing clown shoes. That works unless you're afraid of clowns.
Oh, I love clowns.
Me too. They're so funny.
I'm glad for you too. Not everyone likes clowns. Right, Ryan?
Some fears are completely legitimate.
Everyone laughs and Ryan shrugs off his shame.
That was a perfect example of how to use humor to overcome fear.
I think you're right. I'll try that next time I'm afraid.
You know, if we stay here much longer we'll get nice tans, but then everyone back home will know we went to the beach.
I think he's right. We should probably head back soon.
I feel guilty, but would it be okay if I went home when you leave?
I feel the same way.
Neither of you should feel bad about calling it a day. You both have done quite a lot for one day.
I just feel bad that I needed to be in a group in order to do this.
Actually, that is a perfectly valid way to face your fears. That is the whole idea of support groups. There is no need to be ashamed of that. You both have made big steps today, and I'm sure you'll make many more in the future.
That makes me feel better. Well, I'm ready to head back home. What about you?
I think I am too. Do you want to do this next weekend?
How about Saturday?
Sounds like a plan.
They walk back to the high-rise and we wait for Nick to signal the lab.
We'll be headed home in 3, 2, 1.
It's too bad those two weren't actually real. I felt like we were actually helping them.
Did you help them too, Charlie?
Isn't it ironic that we're talking about people we think don't exist now while we're with a dog that shouldn't exist?
Is this about that old lady we saw after that one mission?
Maybe.
Well, I hope those two are still around somewhere. I liked them.
The lab seems pretty sure that they understand the unformatted matter. And they say Charlie is the only thing that came out of the unformatted matter.
You can call me the skeptic then.
Well, that's reasonable. How about we call it a day for now and get some rest?